Hello guys, and welcome to a new Steel Division video today by me, Vulcan. Today I have for you game 2 out of 2 games between Pathology and Yoda in round 5 of the second European tournament. Today we are going to be seeing Colleville once again, and on the Allied side, Pathology is using the first Pancerna this time around, and on the Axis side, Yoda is using the second Panzer. So of course, as usual, the players have switched sides. We'll have to see how Yoda does with the second Panzer versus the first Pancerna, because Pathology did get the better of him with the 17th SS previously. So this is a quite interesting matchup. The second Panzer definitely a very strong division. They have the Panzer IVs in Phase A, but one thing that they do lack is just general availability from the start. They have quite nice availability through the game, but at the start, all of their units cost a lot. So with the 500 points that they have available, it can lead to gaps in the defense, which the first Pancerna should be able to take advantage of due to their cheap infantry. So if Pathology is on the ball and takes advantage of salience, then we could see some gaps opening up at the start of the game, which Yoda will have to fill with the 150 points in Phase B. That's the 50 points per minute that he gains access to. Now let's have a look at the first Pancerna. The first Pancerna, they do have these staghounds and they are very good. They are fantastic for pushing salients, but may struggle against Panzer IVs. Also got a Stuart 5 placed down. The first Pancerna also gain access, of course, to the Cromwell 6 and the Cromwell 5s. That can be used quite aggressively at the start of the game, accompanied by the Strelzy, the 15-point infantry squads. But it looks like Pathology is going to be going for the Staghound in the mid with a 6-pounder here. It's also got some Dragoni. There's going to be 1 unit of infantry on the bottom side. Accompanying the Stuart is 2 units of infantry and the Dragoni. And then on the top side we see 3 units of infantry with the command infantry and the Staghound. So a very split focus for Pathology at the start, similar to his playstyle in the first game, where he didn't really focus particularly in one area, focused more on covering the entirety of the front line, which is one strategy, of course, but it's definitely a much slower strategy. Whereas if you focus all of these Staghounds and Stuarts and so on in the same place, it gives you a lot more pushing power that can break through enemy AT guns and so on really quickly indeed. On the side of Yoda, we are going to see a Panzer III early on. No Panzer IV, but that's going to be accompanied by some Panzer Grenadiers, some Sturm Pioneers, the Spähtruppe, and an AT gun, which is the Pak 40, coming in with that half-track. On the bottom side, there is the Spähtruppe with the 251 and the 250-10 with the Panzerschreck. So, going to be a rather loose deployment from the second Panzer, which is to be expected. Going to be covering the bottom side just with a single half-track, which could be quite risky, especially if that half-track gets taken out. The land could fall very quickly in favour of Pathology, especially with a Staghound actually heading down this way, and there being no AT really to stop it. Especially considering the 250-10 will struggle to penetrate the Staghound at max range. So Yoda will have to be very careful with that. On the top side, however, I don't think Yoda's really going to be having much success either. He's completely overwhelmed in terms of infantry. There is 6 infantry squads here, and that's going up against 1 Panzer Grenadier and 1 Sturm Pioneer. So, as you can imagine, that probably won't end up too well. It's really going to come down to the use of the Panzer III to get a lot of work done. And against something like a Staghound, the 2-star Panzer III might do quite a lot of damage. This Pak 40, it is going to pick off the half-track there for first blood. But Pathology being rather conservative with his initial deployment, for sure. He hasn't really been aggressive with the Staghound. He's not moving the Strelzy forwards. And the Universal Carrier is staying back here with the 6-pounder. That's going to be a Piat kill for the Dragoni, coming under fire from the Pak 40 and the Panzer III now. On the top side, the Spähtruppe there pushing forwards. If they can spot the Strelzy, then the 251 should be able to open up, and that may cause the Strelzy to be pinned down and allow a surrender to occur. On this top side though, both of these half-tracks under threat from the Staghound. That Staghound has now been revealed, which may allow the Panzer III to move up to that top side and engage the Staghound and possibly win that engagement, which would be a really nice start for Yoda because it takes away the fire support that the Staghound is providing. Because this Staghound is quite simply stopping these half-tracks from being a factor. If the Staghound goes down, then the machine guns of these half-tracks will be able to open up onto the infantry during these engagements and really swing things in favour of Yoda. But the Pak 40 has been pinged there. Further down, the Panzer Grenadiers are chewing up these Strelzy, but the M5 half-track going to be trying to move up and deal with that. The 250-10, if it gets there, should be able to kill off that half-track. That's one thing that these 250-10s are really good for. But now we can see a little bit of aggression here from Pathology, and I like the way he's picked up the AT gun with the Universal Carrier to move it up to the front line. So here comes the Panzer III, although the Pak 40 is going to beat it to the kill. Been quite good set of engagements for Yoda so far. He hasn't really lost any units, yet he's killed a half-track or two on the side of Pathology, and he's definitely done a lot of damage to Pathology's infantry. Here comes the Hurricanes though. I failed to mention these previously. But the 1st Pancerna, of course, well known for their use of Hurricanes. So good to see one on the field. Could probably be used to start strafing the Panzer III. However, Yoda's on the ball, brings in a Focke-Wulf 190. Goodbye Hurricane, and goodbye Command Infantry. Really nice set of engagements here, and I think Yoda's done a really good job there to invest in the Focke-Wulf 190 early on to prevent the use of those Hurricanes. That is very, very nice indeed. Now the loss of the speed troop there is a bit of a problem, but Panzer III, that's going to be engaged by the Staghound. That's going to be a driver wound straight off the bat. First shot hits the mark from the Staghound. The Panzer III, it does have the 2-star veterancy. Misses won't do as much morale damage to the Panzer III as they will to the Staghound due to that veterancy. And this is going to be an interesting engagement, watching these two Strelzy squads engage a Sturm Pioneer potentially. Oh, the Pak 40 almost got a shot off at the Staghound. That would have been a rather large mistake. But here comes Focke-Wulf 190. That's going to be trying to pin down the Staghound and allow the Panzer III to get aggressive. Sturm Pioneers, they're going to be approached by these Strelzy. It's probably not the best bet for them. I think Pathology realised it and is going to be pulling back. Best way to deal with these Sturm Pioneers is maybe allow them to come into the tree line there and then engage them with the Staghound. But that's probably not going to happen anytime soon if the Focke-Wulf 190 comes in with a strafing run once again, although that strafing run was completely off the mark, probably because he's lost line of sight onto the Staghound. On the top side, 250-10 is on the way with another speed troop for that top side. I'm really surprised on the bottom though that the Strelzy haven't got aggressive once again. Now there is obviously something here due to the way that the front line is sitting, and Pathology probably knows that, but not checking it is really quite lazy in my opinion, especially when this is like a 15-point infantry squad, and you wouldn't lose the front line if it died because you've got a 6-pounder and a Staghound here. So there's no reason not to just run that forwards and check, because if he did check, then that would have made quite the difference. But what's going to happen here is a 250-10 takes out the Stuart. On the top side, the Staghound ended up killing the Panzer III. That is quite something. So a couple of nice engagements on both sides. The 250-10 cleaning up the Stuart there is a fantastic kill. On the top though, it looks like Yoda's very reliant on this 250-10 now. It does have really high rate of fire, and that's something he may be able to rely upon, but doesn't want to just yet. Look at this half-track, that's pushing on through. The Stuart 5, however, is on its way to the front line, and that will be able to take care of that half-track. Track wheel damage is going to be the start of it, and it does get taken out. Panzer Grenadier, they're still pinning down these Dragoni, and here comes another half-track to back those up. Now it is currently +1 for Pathology, doing a great job so far to keep up the pressure, and I think with the Panzer III dead on the top side, there's no reason not to get aggressive with these armoured vehicles, especially the Staghound and the Stuart 5. Fire positioning with the stag hound here is a bit useless. The 30 cal isn't really that good at pinning down units when it doesn't have line of sight. Stone Pioneers, though, they're going to try and run down the Streltsy, and there is no command nearby just yet. The Stuart 5 may get into range in time, and if it does, then the Streltsy should be fine. Never mind, Stone Pioneers, they're just going to chill for the time being. But yeah, you can see, even though Pathology is trying to fire position these Stone Pioneers, it's absolutely doing nothing. Generally, you'd want to fire position with something that actually has decent HE on its main gun, because 30 cals aren't going to hit much, even if you fire positioning. And the 1 HE is definitely not doing anything. Now these half-tracks trying to cover the bottom side. 250-10 there is remaining in cover. Further down, Panzer Grenadiers are making a little bit of ground, but again, still on this bottom side, no probing attacks from Pathology. I feel like is a rather large mistake. Now a Sexton has been brought in. That should be able to swing these engagements in favour of Pathology in the mid. Especially if there's a couple of direct hits, and there should be, considering the range. You see that's almost a direct engagement there. So Spade through it, Panzergrens both pinned down. There is no command nearby, so the Dragoni take a step forwards, and that's 2 surrendered units of infantry. On the top side, Panzerschreck going to be internal fragmenting the Staghound. Nice hit there indeed. Now the 250-10 going to be trying to take advantage of that. If it pushes round and engages the Staghound while it's retreating, that would be a really nice play from Yoda, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. Pathology is well out of there. Pack 40, though, is going to be engaging the Stuart 5, and that is a track wheel damage. That Stuart 5 will come under fire from the Pack 40 once again, but as we can see, the Dragoni and the Streltsy here are pushing forwards once again, and there goes the Speed Troop alongside the Panzergrens. And that is not good news on this top side. Pathology just lost both of his armoured support units. The Staghound and the Stuart 5 both going down. That could give him the opportunity to get very aggressive with infantry on the top side. We haven't seen any more being brought in. Now on this bottom side, Pathology getting aggressive. He is attacking the Spade Troop here that have revealed themselves by firing at the infantry. So taking those out would be really good. He can start to make some ground, but the Panzer IV is now on its way. So just got to pin these, keep the infantry running towards them, maybe even have the Universal Carrier just drive towards the Spear Troop as they are being pinned down, because then you just instantly surrender when you get close. If they don't fall back, that is. Stone Pioneers, they're going to try and push this recon squad out of the orchard. 250-10 still getting aggressive on the top side here. Now the Stone Pioneers, they do have to be careful. They can't get too close, otherwise the flamethrower doesn't work properly. So there's Delcy actually winning out there, and the infantry on the top side, well, they're now dead. Look at this on the bottom side. The aggression is insane right now. The Staghound pushing forwards. If it takes a one-on-one engagement, that's not good. Weapon jam. Panzer IV does the job. Can the Staghound win at close range? Oh, it's going to aim fast. It does get the track wheel destroy. Can it find the second shot before the Panzer IV does? Panzer IV is going to get the driver wound. Can the Staghound hit? It can. Panzer IV goes down. That is a crucial kill there. These Staghounds really paying off. Now the 251 does actually end up killing the half-track here. So he's going to want to get the Morris LRC to potentially take that out, or even this Staghound that can still fire. I guess the Morris LRC should be able to do the job. It's just going to take a while with that anti-tank rifle. Staghound now pushing very aggressively up this road. You can see that he is going to be bumping into some Stern Pioneers. If Yoda unloads those and allows the flamethrower to hit the Staghound, that could just mean the Staghound surrenders. But never mind. Oh wow, okay. I thought the Stern Pioneers were going to get pinned down nice and quick there due to the 30 cal, but they actually end up blowing up the Staghound with the flamethrower. Now in the meantime, on the top side, Yoda's completely broken through. He's found the kill onto the Staghound that was internal fragmented, and without any infantry has just got super aggressive. So both players really going for it now. Very, very exciting stuff, but with that Staghound gone and the Sturm Pioneers into position, he may be able to just about hold the ground down here, Yoda, until he gets more reinforcements in. And now we're into Phase B, he does have the 150 points per minute, so Yoda will be able to reinforce himself very, very quickly indeed. Now look at this, half-tracks just rolling past each other on the main road. That reminds me of a post-scriptum game that I once had, where I was driving the Staghound and I just drove straight past an enemy half-track. But either way, here we see Pathology trying to get all his infantry in position. We are going to see the Piats fire away, and well, that is one very dead half-track, although all three of those Piats missed. Now we just got to wait and see if these can get into position to take out the 250-10 and the 233. The Panzer IV is currently okay, but yeah, Panzer Grenadiers now coming in. These are going to be Sturm Pioneers, and well, these are going to be Sturm Grenadiers, sorry. And we've got Ramsch on the way. So without any significant armoured support here anymore, especially since the Staghound is now weapon jammed, this Panzer IV should be able to clean things up quite nicely with the support of this infantry and really bounce back from this bottom side. Meanwhile on the top, the Dragoni tried to get in position but couldn't. The 233 here does have enough recon to spot these squads coming into the tree line, so should be able to engage them when they do. And I think the Piat's just out of range of the 223, so can't fire at it itself. The best bet would be to try and go up this tree line, but as soon as it does get into range, it will be spotted. Now the Staghound has gone down. The Sturm Pioneers, or Sturm Grenadiers, sorry, they do unload and kill this half-track in the mid. So you can see ground is starting to be made back here by Yoda, but it's still a +1 for Pathology. He's got the 750 points on the board. I think Pathology, though, maybe getting a bit carried away with his defense on the top side. He's brought in loads of infantry here, as well as this AT gun. There's a couple more coming in. This seems overkill when he definitely needs to start looking at this bottom side. And with this 6-pounder now being strafed by the Focke-Wulf 190, that's not going to be able to kill Ramsch anymore. So there's a large potential for like a huge salient on this bottom side if he's not too careful. This Hurricane is an odd choice as well, since there's currently 2 aircraft in the sky for Yoda. This is a dangerous game to play, since if both of those go for the Hurricane at the same time, then the Hurricane will be completely useless. The best bet there would probably just be have it leave and come back when you got some AA on the field. So 6-pounder is going to be engaging the half-track here. That's going to allow the Focke-Wulf the target once again, and that is going to be pinned down. Now the half-track can quite simply run it down, and that's exactly what it's going to do, as you can see, just fast moving down the road here straight toward that AT gun, and the AT gun's going to try and get away, but it is very, very dead. Oh, second Hurricane on the field. We're in the skies. Gonna try and take down the Focke-Wulf 190. Probably won't be fast enough to get on the back of it. 2 AA pieces are on the way. They should be able to stop that engagement from occurring as well. Best bet really is for those to actually unload their 20 mils, and that should definitely help out quite a bit. And you can see just how much flak hits these Hurricane Mark IVs when they are unloaded like that. And now the Focke-Wulf 190 should be able to turn around and get those kills. But look at this front line here. Pathology, he like completely overextended with his Staghound, and it's really, really cost him, especially since he didn't reinforce this bottom side. Oh, 6-pounder did manage to get a shot into Ramsch, towards Ramsch. Lucky that Ramsch is still alive there. Sturm Grenadiers, though, they're going to be able to push aggressively towards the Morris LRC and the Stralsy, try and push them out of the bunker here, and that's potentially going to be a surrender, since there is no command nearby. The Morris has just gone down, and now Ramsch really cleaning house on this bottom side. Pathology, he's going to be bringing in the Wolverine. Now, I personally would like to see the Firefly. The Firefly 1C in Phase B that the first Pancerna can get is a really nice choice in this situation against things like the Panzer IV, because they have the 1,200 meter range. Now, of course, the Wolverine does as well, but I prefer the Firefly due to its better mobility and aim time. The Flak 38 here and the Gepard, they're going to find an infantry squad and wipe that out, and we can see that it has gone to a +1 to Yoda now with a 58% territory lead. It's actually a +2. Swinging backwards and forwards as soon as these Dragoni get pinned once again. That should give Yoda just enough territory. On this top side though, the 250-10 has been forced back. What Pathology needs to do here is get the 6-pounder into position to take out the 233 and the Panzer IV. Then that would open up the top side once again to allow possibly an armoured vehicle to push through aggressively. Something like a Cromwell 5 would be really good right now, because if you end up pinning down this Panzer IV, it can move forwards aggressively and take out the Panzer IV. Now the 233 does go down, but as we can see with the Dragoni being surrounded on this bottom side, it has given the +2 to Ramsch once again, or to Yoda, sorry. Whilst Ramsch is attacking the Strelzy, Auftrags picked up the Sturm Pioneers, going to be just trying to run down the Strelzy, and I really like how the players are microing their forces. I think it's really good to see, especially when people know to reload and unload their units, like we saw Pathology reload his 6-pounder and move it forwards previously, and now we've seen Yoda pick up his Sturm Pioneers so that he can aggressively push those forwards once the ground is clear. This Wolverine, it really does need to get into line of sight of this Panzer IV sooner than later, because as soon as the Panzer IV starts playing around these tree lines, things get very difficult for the Wolverine at close range. But currently a +2 for Yoda. Really has exploited his 150 points per minute to get himself into this position. Now we're going to see the two Hurricanes. They're floating about. Still no AA on the side of Pathology, which is probably quite a bit of a mistake, because if the Focke-Wulfs go for the engagement with the Hurricanes, then they will probably win. This Focke-Wulf, it looks to be baiting the Hurricane, but I'm not sure that that's going to be able to do so in time. Yeah, this Gepard and the 20mm back here are in really bad position. That was a bit of a mistake there from Yoda for sure. He needs to get this Gepard and Flak 20mm up to the front line, because otherwise that AA is really not substantial enough to make plays like that. It would have been fine. I personally thought that Yoda was just going for a bait there, and possibly he was, but completely forgot that his AA was this far back and therefore lost the Focke-Wulf because of it. Now Ramsch, he is in range to engage the Wolverine, and this is exactly the reason that I'd prefer a Firefly in this situation, because I feel like the Firefly wouldn't have lost that. It would have potentially bounced because it had more armor, and also it would have fired first because it's a Firefly. So Ramsch getting the upper hand, and with the Wolverine internal fragmented there, the only thing standing in the way of Ramsch right now is the Stuart 5. This Staghound could also come around the corner and engage at close range, but that is a nice first shot for the Stuart. That is a crew knockout. But currently, +2 still on the board for Yoda, and he does now have the Aufklärer Panther D on the way. Ramsch goes ahead and takes out the Stuart. That's going to leave the Wolverine as a sitting duck. Yoda's going to want to try and get aggressive onto this Wolverine, but he needs to be very careful with this Staghound, because the Staghound does have a decent aim time at close range, but this is a fast move around the corner. That needs to be an attack move around the corner, because if it's not, what the hell is this Wolverine doing? Is he baiting with the Wolverine to get the shot with the Staghound? Next level plays here, guys. I love that. That is very, very cool. So the Wolverine pushed in line of sight of the Panzer IV. So the Panzer IV is reloading while the Staghound engages, and the Staghound finds the kill at that close range. Really, really well played. But Panther D is now on the field, something that Pathology could not have accounted for, and now is going to struggle to break through once again. I'm not sure that the Staghound's going to have quite the same success against the Panther D at close range due to that 13 front armor. So, Pack 40, that's now engaging the Universal Carrier on the top side. We have a Stug 3G coming in and engaging the Cromwell 7 here. Or Cromwell 6, sorry. That's going to get an engine destroy. Now, the Cromwell 6 is going to be hidden by the Orchard, so no direct shot for the Stug 3 just yet. But accompanying with the Puma should allow the Recon to spot that if the Stug 3 just can't already, which it seems like it can. Pack 40 still killing those carriers on the top side, and on the bottom side the Half-Clad Panther D is still causing issues. Focke-Wulf 190 going to go into the engagement with the 2 Hurricane Mark IVs. Due to the Focke-Wulf being faster, it should be shot down by the Hurricane Mark IV, but it looks like Pathology is just going to ignore that and go for the strafe onto the Pack 40 instead. Cromwell 6 does go down. Another Hurricane in the sky. There's now 3 Hurricanes in the sky, and it's quite amazing how Pathology's initial aggression, which worked out so well for him, really collapsed completely when he slightly overextended. Like this bottom side especially, I think was neglected after he lost the stag count. That stag count should have been replaced ASAP, so that this pushback on the bottom side was not so easy for Yoda, and then Pathology could have potentially been in a better position to really rely on his Fireflies in the late game to bring it back. But here we see the Wolverine engaging the Half-Clad Panther D. That is not an engagement that the Wolverine would like to take. The Sturmgrenadiers, they're going to get pinned down or surrendered though, so the Staghound's got a free close range engagement, but that is 13 front armor. It's still going to be an internal fire though. What an absolute hero this Staghound would be if it could clean up an Half-Clad Panther D. That would be quite something. Pack 40 does take out the Wolverine in the meantime. The Staghound though, I feel like it's going to continuously bounce the further back this Panther D gets. And as soon as the Panther D recovers, it can fire back, and that Staghound's going to be running for the wind. Here we go. Will the Half-Clad Panther D find the kill? It won't, but it gets the weapon jam, and that's good enough. So, 58% territory stays in favour of Yoda. On the top side, the Stuart 5 track wheel damaged. This has certainly turned on its head, this game. What an exciting one it has been, but I feel like the longer this game goes on, the more Yoda can reinforce himself with better units, and that's something that the first Pancerna really struggles with. Like as soon as like a Panther A comes onto the field, especially in the mid, it's going to be very difficult for Pathology to break that down, especially if he's relying on things like 17 pounders as opposed to Fireflies, because although 17 pounders can kill Panthers quite easily, they're not aggressive, right? So even if you do kill the Panther, what are you going to push with, because you've relied on the 17 pounder to get the kill in the first place. Whereas if you rely on a Firefly at close range to find the kill, once you do find the kill, you can push through aggressively, and that's the difference really. Now the SPW-222 there, it does actually manage to kill off the Staghound due to the side armor shot, but does get taken out by the 17 pounder. Another 17 pounder going to be engaging the Panther D. That is very, very risky there, but the Pack 40 actually might save the day due to it being able to engage the 17 pounder whilst the 17 pounder cannot fire back, since the Pack 40 actually has the HE ammunition. But on this top side, large concentration of vehicles now. Yoda just needs to reinforce himself with a couple of Sturmgrenadiers or something, and he could really take full advantage up here. And it is surprising that to me that after Pathology brought in like loads of reinforcements, Yoda still managed to hold on to this ground. But it's still a +2, it's still a 58% territory lead, so only just +2. Cromwell 6, that's going to find the pin onto the Pack 40. 11 minutes left on the clock. Pathology is actually going to surrender, and that's going to be game over in 26 minutes and 24 seconds. Congratulations to Yoda for bringing one back, defeating Pathology in the second game. That's going to make it 1-1 between these two players, and 2 Axis victories. Would you look at that? So, in terms of kills and losses, 2,125 kills to 1,660 losses, I think definitely reflects the game in a sense that Yoda definitely came back strong in Phase B and found a lot of value for money engagements, especially with the Panzer IVs. So that was nice. Really nice bait though by Pathology using the Wolverine that was internal fragmented to take the shot from the Panzer IV so the Staghound could find the kill. That was absolutely incredible. Really, really nice play. And, well, in terms of kills, Staghound, it did well. I think the Staghounds in the early game really, really made the difference. Like, killing that Panzer IV, like, allowed the breakthrough early on. And that was just so damn important. But I feel like Pathology really got ahead of himself before he'd reinforced that town with infantry. And I feel like infantry should have already been on the way, knowing that that breakthrough was going through. Like, as soon as the Staghound kills the Panzer IV, that's when you know you've got control of that bottom side town. And that's where you can start to bring in the infantry reinforcements nice and quick to that location to make sure that you don't lose it to the approaching enemy infantry that will be on its way. So that's something that I feel that Pathology could have done a little bit better, to just hold on to that salient that he had made on the bottom side, and maybe overestimated his power due to the second Staghound being weapon jammed, and possibly forgetting about it. In terms of losses though, look at this Pack 40. Well, that did absolute work on the top side. 2 Stuart 5s, a bunch of half tracks, really, really nice job. One of the Focke-Wulf coming in early on and taking out the Hurricane was actually really important, because without that Hurricane being available, and the Hurricane power coming in later in the game, it meant that this Pack 40 could go to work when otherwise it would have been pinned down by the Hurricane. So that was very important. This 250-10 taking out 2 Staghounds, that is really nice for a 250-10. And something that is so great about these is that their high veterancy, plus their really high rate of fire, makes these half-tracks with those AT guns on really, really strong sometimes. Ramsch, what an absolute hero he was in this game, took out the Staghound, the Wolverine, the Stuart 5, and ended up getting down to the Staghound at close range. But otherwise, really good job with that Panzer IV. Kind of saved Yoda on the bottom side, I feel. Stug 3, that ended up killing the Sexton and the Cromwell 6 in the end. But these kills in the late game, I think, were didn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. But either way, guys, that's all from me. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the finals, which we'll be moving on to next. Yeah, that's all, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.